Welcome to Red Ice Radio. My name is Henrik Palmgren, and this is a special broadcast coming to you from Scandinavia at the top of the European continent. Our website is redicecreations.com. Go there for much more radio news and information about our program. Sign up for membership and get full access to our archives. And today we have an important program for you. We are going to talk with MEP, that's Member of the European Parliament, Marta Andreasen. She used to be employed by the European Commission as chief accountant. She was suspended from her job by the Commission in May 2002 for what they called failure to show sufficient loyalty and respect. The reason for this was that she refused to sign off the 2001 European Commission accounts, mainly because of the fraud and the waste that she saw within the European Union. I think that she has definitely showed enough sufficient loyalty and respect to all the people that are trapped within the European Union by not going along with their fraud, waste and corruption. And she has helped as an insider to open up this subject to the public and making it known. She has written a book about her experiences. It's available through Amazon. It's called Brussels Laid Bare. And so this is what we'll be discussing here today with Marta. I also hope that we can get into some information about the upcoming Lisbon Treaty vote in Ireland, October 2nd. Very important, and I urge anyone that is even remotely interested in themselves and their own freedom and who is within the Europe to go to Ireland sometime before this vote. Let them know what you think, show up, have your say, wave a placard and talk to the people before they go to have their say at the ballot boxes. As a matter of fact, show up as a representative from your country and have your say. Again, Ireland is not only voting for themselves in this referendum, but for 500 million people in Europe who have been denied a vote by their so-called democratically elected leaders. And I'm just shocked at how little mentioning we have of the Lisbon Treaty in the media. Okay, and I just want to mention one more thing here before we say hi to Marta. I'm going to go to Dublin October 1st, 2nd and 3rd, and we'll be covering the vote in our way. If you want to meet up with us there, drop us an email and we'll try to arrange something on that note. But anyway, welcome to Red Ice Radio, Marta. It's great to have you with us today.
It's great for me to talk to you.
So why don't you just give us a quick rundown of your story? Tell us about what happened to you. Tell us about how EU treated you, basically, and what you saw in terms of fraud, waste and corruption within the European Union.
Well, I was appointed chief accountant of the European Union back in 2002 after a recruitment process that took 8 months. And I had heard about the resignation of the Central Commission, and I had also heard the word being spread of the big reforms they were undergoing from a financial and administrative point of view. So I was quite proud to be able to cooperate in this reform. But when I got there, I saw that the situation was worse than I thought because they didn't have the proper systems, both lacking procedures and lacking the technology. So I started to put requests to make changes. Some of the changes which I thought were critical and could have been made immediately because the technology was there. And I started to face strong resistance to my proposals. But at the same time, I was being asked to sign for payments for which I could not guarantee that they were going to the right person for the right purpose. So I started to be very concerned about this and raised my voice up to the highest hierarchy, which is the College of Commissioners. And they simply at first didn't reply my letters, and then they just tried to sideline me and put me on a job where I wouldn't be able to question the finances or have access to the highest hierarchy. I didn't give up, so I went to the European Court of Auditors, who had been criticizing the accounts for years, and asked them for their support. And the Court of Auditors also turned it back. And then I went to the European Parliament, where supposedly we should have the people who are defending the interests of the taxpayers around Europe. And they also refused to hear me. with no real ground for this refusal. So finally, after a 2 years procedure, I was fired. I was judged by people in the Commission, high-level directors who had been managing funds without control for years. So I was judged by them, and they found me guilty of disloyalty. And, well, I wonder to whom I was disloyal, because I think I was pretty loyal to the European taxpayers.
Absolutely. And in the beginning of your book, you have a little paragraph that basically says the Court of Auditors, which is financed out of the EU budget, is supposed to guarantee the proper use of EU funds. It has been unable to do this for the last 14 years, and there are no external auditors. Maybe you can just tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, first of all, I say there are no external auditors because the European Court of Auditors is another institution of the European Union, and they are paid out of the same budget, which means they have no independence really. It's not like a private company, where they call any a well-known audit firm, which is totally independent to them to make the audit. This is not the case here in the European Union. The European Court of Auditors is another institution financed by the same budget. So frankly, there is no separation of power, so to speak.
Yes.
The same happens with the Parliament. I mean, there are what they call interinstitutional agreements that prevent the Parliament from hearing certain key officials from the Commission, because this has been pre-agreed that there would not be this type of exchange of information. And this is appalling, because the Parliament is there to sort of monitor and fiscalize what the Commission is doing with the funds of the European people. So that's why I say, there is no independence, and obviously they all are financed by the same budget.
And maybe you can tell us then a little bit about maybe how the money is being spent, or what was it primarily that you kind of reacted to when you started to this process, so to speak, of non-cooperation, of not signing the accounts?
Yeah. Well, basically the problem that I had is that I couldn't be certain that the payment that was made and allocated to a certain budget line was really being used for this budget line and was really being paid to the right person. One of the problems that the budget has, as a general background, is that funds are paid in advance. And there needs to be a very strict control in that you have to be able to come back to the beneficiaries to ask them for the papers, the document that proves that they have really run the project.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem that the Commission has is that they make the payments to big agencies, and then they don't request the documentation back to prove that the funds have been properly spent.
Yes.
So there is no real control if the money is being spent for the right purpose or for the right amount. And this is the worrying thing. And it's aggravated because they pay before they get the documents. If they would impose the rule that payments can only be made once the documents have been submitted, I think the situation would change quite radically, but nobody is prepared to make this change.
You mentioned the College of Commissioners as well. I doubt that many people will be familiar with them. Maybe you tell us a little bit about what that group does, so to speak.
Well, the European Commission is the executive arm of the European Union.